Hey champions, it is Wednesday? Yeah, we're halfway through the week. I hope whatever goals you set at the beginning of the week, you're halfway through them. I did make the announcement on Monday. My goal for the week was to work on the championship, and I'm happy to say we've been making a lot of progress. There's been a lot of things decided. We're going to slowly get to the nitty gritty of it, but soon enough we're going to be showing information about that once everything's settled in. The biggest issue right now is finding the venue and finding the date. We have one that's in the rough mind, but today we have a meeting with someone who hopefully will be able to consolidate a lot of that together and present something to the community very soon. So that's what's happening right now. I hope you're excited about a lot of that. Also, last night we had our Exploring the Library episode. I think it was episode 44. We're getting close. We're almost a full year's worth of episodes. I can't believe that. Like, soon we'll be hitting 50. That's a huge milestone. So that happened last night. We talked about what it's like going second. And there's a lot of interesting conversation around that. I think it's a really dynamic topic. And I do personally believe that if you think that this game is biased towards people who are going first, you haven't found the nuance in the game. And I want you to explore that. Explore going second and how it forces you to see cards differently and how you can take a different set of advantages. Going first is for the aggression. If you want to be able to put the pressure on your opponent, keep the pressure on, and make sure that they don't have the opportunity to make a decision at a given point. Because that's the one advantage that going first has, is that you get one action during the entire game where no one gets to do anything to that. Not just the entire game. Every single round, you get an action that no one gets to respond to. That's a pretty big advantage. Why would we give that advantage to the first player if the first player didn't need it? Going second has its own set of advantages, and it's for the players who like to take a step back, look at the entire board state, and make decisions around that. It's about board control. It's about having the last say in every single round. These are very important things. So if you get the opportunity, go check out that live stream. I'll make sure I leave a link to it around so you'll have the opportunity to check it out. But it was a lot of fun, and it was really cool getting the opportunity to actually sit beside Alex and actually have do the live stream that way. This is the second time doing it that way, so it was definitely an interesting experience, and I enjoyed it a lot. That being said, I also got a bunch of questions from someone on Discord. So FireFate23. I'm just going to be reading them, so sorry if I'm not facing the camera while I do this. But the questions came in at 1:29 a.m. I was half asleep. I had just stayed up really late watching the live stream for tabletopgamer.com. They were opening up some Genesis. They opened up a starter kit and a booster box. They got a really nice foil in that. So it was a great box. It was a great community. I had a lot of fun, but I was really tired after that live stream, so I couldn't respond to the questions right away. So I figured, let's put it up in the a vlog. That way, it's not just information for one person; it's information for the entire community. Feel free to share this around, and that way, it's not. I don't. If you have questions, I love the one-on-one conversations, but I think the entire community deserves to know some of this information too. So, first question. I found you on the GenesisBoC server, but it looks like you're not in there anymore. That's true. I'm not in the fan server, the general public server. Part of it is because Genesis is my baby. I've been working on this project for a very, very long time. I'm very passionate about it. And I want a space. I understand that not everyone's going to love every aspect about that game. And I think it's fair that you, as a community, have a space where you can vent about it. But it does hurt my feelings sometimes. So, to get rid of the awkwardness, I stepped out of that server. But there are still people who are in that server who communicate important information to me. Not everything that's going on. If there's ever a big issue, mention it to Will K, Pius Axel, A.G. Miller. These are people who I meet with on a regular, and they just communicate that important information back to me. So it's up to you, however you want to go about it. Firefate actually found my Discord handle and just message me directly. So I'm perfectly fine with that too. You can also find my email address. It's in the description. You can just email me. Whatever is the most comfortable for you. But I think that the fan server, that's for you. That's for you to talk about the game however you want. Positively, negatively, speculations, however you want to do that, because I'm not there for you to feel awkward about it. I've been reading and researching about Genesis for the past few weeks now. Love the game. Love the game. Great work, by the way. Thank you. I was wondering, in terms of growth and expansion, where would you say Genesis is headed in the next 1 to 2 years? So, COVID definitely slowed us down, but it also expedited us in a lot of ways. It slowed us down because our rate of getting the paper we want to acquire is definitely a lot slower. But we ended up getting distribution during COVID, and it was because of COVID, because the TCG market saw a boom, and we ended up capitalizing off of that to expand ourselves, but not push ourselves too far. So 1 to 2 years from now, I want to make sure organized play is very solid. That's definitely on our radar. The championships and the other auxiliary major tournaments that we'll be partnering with LGSs to do, called our circuit tournaments. Those we want to roll out and get become much more stable in those. As for the game itself, we're going to be continuing to explore Jaelara. There's a lot of story arc there. We have the story arc planned for. We're finishing up Raise soon, so we have Welcome to Jaelara. That's already published. Raise, which is already published. Origins, which is the introduction, where the story takes a huge pivot, and we come back to the older champions later, but we're going to be exploring new characters and their social economical situation. Invasion, which was going to tie a lot of story arcs together, and then Collision and War. So not spoiling too much, but that's what we're going for the next 1 to 2 years. It will depend on how we're growing, how fast we're growing. But ideally, I just want to be releasing 2 sets a year, because as a company, we're not at a point where we know how to manage releasing more than just that. Once we get to a point where we've locked down the process for releasing 2 sets a year, then we'll add in a third. Once we master that, then we'll add in a fourth. I'm not going to expand faster than we've proven that we're able to do. My Discord's reloading. So while it's reloading, let me... No, actually, maybe I can find those questions on my phone. Sorry, I've just been having some internet issues, and this is now stemming into me recording this. So that's part of what I'm seeing for the next 1 to 2 years. The other parts are organized play, championships, tournaments, set releases, auxiliary products. So the mats have been releasing pretty successfully. We want to make sure we stabilize that process and stabilize the process also for releasing sleeves. That's been another big inquiry from players. There are other things that I want to explore, but we're not ready for that. And I don't want to confirm when we'll be implementing those things until we know that the stuff we've already started implementing, we've solidified on. Alright, so next question. I know you guys started in 2017, and it's been a few years. Do you see the game's growth following an exponential pattern in the near future, or you think it's going to be steady? I can't find much people in my regions who know the game, and I would really like for more people to know of it. My LGS haven't heard of it either, but I think that may be due to the game having a heavy fan base in Canada, right? Do you see yourself entering into new market avenues possibly? So, yes, that's a big question. We will see... Right now, we saw a huge growth this year. We expanded... At the beginning of this year, we were in 13 to 15 known LGSs. As of right now, we're in 80 known LGSs and approximately 70 unknown. And that's just talking to distributors, roughly what their numbers look like, comparing them, assuming a percentage of overlap between different distributors, and just kind of assuming it from there on what those numbers look like. So we're in approximately 150 stores, which is 10 times the amount we had at the beginning of the year. Traditionally, so this does look like exponential growth, because year one we had 0 stores. Year two we were in 3 stores. We went from 3 stores to 8 stores to 13 stores, now to 150, 170. That's a pretty huge jump. But in the grand scheme of things, I see this as a little blip. I do think that we're in a very small percentage of LGSs across North America, across Europe, even into China. We're in 1 store in Hong Kong, which is super awesome. You could go check it out in our store locator. We're in several stores, a handful of stores in the EU. I think we're in about 11 or 12 stores in the EU that we know of, and then most of them are here in North America. We do have a fan base in Canada, but I have a feeling, actually, from our sales record, we know that most of the sales are going to the US. So we have more players in the US, but proportionate to the population of the US, it's definitely a lot smaller compared to Canada. And we're always going to have a small bit of bias towards Canada because we're a Canadian company. But that being said, we're going to go where the expansion take us. I want to see a linear growth, at least for the next little while, because linear growth is something that we can manage. Exponential growth is usually where a company starts stumbling, because that means your growth exceeded your capacity, and if you're ready for it, that's wonderful. A lot of companies are able to deal with that. If you're not ready for that, it could be catastrophic for not just your players, your community, your game, but also for your company. And a lot of companies actually fail at the moment of exponential growth. That's the moment when the company hangs up, has to close shop, because they weren't ready for that demand. We hit that point in a lot of ways. We weren't ready for the demand that second edition brought. I'm really grateful that there's still a lot of people talking about the game, which means that the hype or the excitement or the love around the game hasn't died down yet. It has died down, but it's not dead. So that's a really good feeling right now. But at the end of the day, I do see more growth happening. We have a person on the team who's dedicated in onboarding new LGSs. But since we don't have product to sell right now, like everything's more or less sold out, he's pivoting to retention. It's about working with the LGSs who do have product, who do have a community, and getting them to start hosting open houses and create that demand. When we get the reprint of second edition out there and we have product to sell, then yes, we'll be reaching out to net new LGSs to onboard them, walk them through the entire process, get them in contact with their distributor so that they can get product in the store for their community. So all that will be happening. That being said, Fire Fate, if your LGS is interested in the game, or if you want us to work with your LGS, then just message me and let me know who they are, and I will do my best to contact them when the time's ready, that we know we can support them. The last thing I want to do is start the onboarding process and then find out, yes, they're really excited, they're really hyped, and now they have to wait. Waiting really kills it in a lot of ways, especially when there's no definite date. Sorry for this video going really long. I may skip the card spot. No, I'm going to do the card spotlight. It's a really small one. Alright, I think this is actually the last question. Last question. Also, will there be sets that made after war? That's the last set in Jaelar that you guys have confirmed internally. I really like the set page you have on the website, informative and intuitive. So I'm glad that it's informative and intuitive, because my team has told me over and over again that my web page design skills are not the greatest and that we need to hire someone. I do my best, but I'm just one person and I'm not a designer. So I do the best with the information in front of me and how I would like to see the website laid out, but that's a whole other topic. So, what have we decided? We have internally at least another 3 more confirmed story arcs that we want to do. So how there's a story arc to Jaelara, we have 3 more after that, and then another 2 that are loosely defined, and then another 5 that are theoretical, and we want to wait to see how the story evolves and what the characters start doing and what the reaction is with all the characters before we start laying down all that information. So that being said, there's still a lot of story arc that we want to cover. And the game follows the story arc, right? So we have a lot of mechanics that tie into those story arcs. There's a lot of things that we're doing dry runs of in 2nd edition so that we can start implementing those mechanics properly in the next world. So there's a lot. We do not want Genesis to be a fly-by game. We want something that can last for 15, 20, 50 years. So there's a lot of ideas that we have in place. I know in the very early days when I started pitching Genesis to people, I needed to prove to them that I had an idea for the game beyond just the next year or the next set, that I had ideas for at least another 10 years. So I think we're at a point where I'm comfortable to say that we have enough ideas to last us the next 10 to 15 years, assuming that we as a company don't mess the game up for you. As long as the game is well designed and the community still loves it, I think we'll be around for quite a while. So that's what I have for the story arc. I'm not going to reveal anything about it, but I'll let you know that there are things that are in JLAR 2nd edition that were dry runs for what we want to do for future worlds, not just for JLAR, but for future worlds. And there are things that are happening in the story arc, which are setting things up for the future story arcs. So it's all there. It's all there. You can start speculating on what you think the next worlds are going to be about, what the next story arcs are going to be about. You're going to see familiar faces in the future story arcs, but you'll also see brand new faces. So speculate away and let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, I would love to know if you are able to figure it out. But that is everything from Fire Fate. Thank you so much for sending in those questions. I hope this answered everything the way you want. If you have more questions, send them, because I love to. This creates more content for the vlog, so I'm very grateful for that. All right, let's very quickly go through our spotlight card. I want to talk about Jaelarian Hound very quickly. So let me get myself ready for this. All right, this 5-chi summon with 3 health and 3 attack is Jaelara. It's open. All champions in Jaelara can use this card. It's 9 aura, basic attack 3. Why was this card created if no one plays it? That's the question that I know is on some of your minds, because a lot of people... when was the last time you built a deck that put in Jaelarian Hounds? So when it comes to set design, there's a few things to think about. Not just about competitive play. We talk a lot about, are these cards useful for competitive play? Are they useful for casual? But another big aspect when it comes to design is talking about, is this card designed for brand new players? Excuse me. If I have a player who's just getting into the game, how do I teach them the game without burdening them with a lot of new knowledge? And Jaelarian Hound is perfect for this. It gives a lot of the key examples of how the game works. You can make a deck that's purely 5-chi based cards. I wouldn't make only Jaelarian Hounds, but other 5-chi cards that are in circulation, so that the deck's balanced. It plays a little bit more like a traditional TCG. This is if you want to get really, really basic. However, other places where this card is very valuable, especially when we make demo decks, intro decks, things like that are about getting people comfortable with the game as soon as possible. Jaelarian Hound is a great summon for that. The other thing that we're talking about is in drafts. Sorry, I got distracted. I realized I haven't gone through the other parts of the card yet. So this card done by Victoria. I was the one who created it. It was it's a beautiful artwork. I actually really like the extended artwork. It's something you don't get to see because this card never saw a promo version. It never got an extended art version. But I think all in all, this card came together really well. The fact that it was designed as an homage to Hunting Hound really pays a lot of tribute. So let me first show you. It was originally printed in Welcome to Jaelara. It was when we realized that there was no standardized 3 health, 3 attack, 5 Chi summon for all the players out there. So let's pull up Hunting Hound, and you can kind of see where some of the inspiration came from. The idea here was Hunting Hound was just a classic card. Everyone who was playing Thymos used it, but outside of Thymos, no one got the opportunity to just have this summon at their disposal. Hunting Hound being a 4 Chi, 2 health, 2 attack, 5 aura summon. Here it is. So you'll see a lot of similar color palettes going from Jaelarian Hound over to Hunting Hound. If Hunting Hound wasn't locked to Thymos, I think it would have been very healthy for the game, because every champion needed that baseline summon. And we talk a lot about what is the purpose of Jaelar itself, and it's to create a baseline for all the champions, all the affiliations. If you want to play a summoner, it doesn't matter if your affiliation doesn't have the right cards for you, you have this at your disposal. It is a solid 5 Chi summon. It's cheap to play. It's going to be at that 10%, the golden position for a summoner, because most summoners have 100 plus aura. So this is less than 10% of your aura, which means that you can play these comfortably. You can spam them in your deck. You can run maybe 8 to 10, 12 of them. And anything in the game, once there's enough of them, a swarm of them, they become a little bit more difficult to deal with. So all those things in place, what Jaelarian Hound does is it stabilizes the summoners. Even if you're not playing with it, I bet you anything you're grateful that it's there, even if it's just subconsciously. Because it not being in the game meant that if you were doing a draft, you were playing casually, you're brand new to the game, and you wanted to play Summoner, but you couldn't get your hands on your affiliated summons, you couldn't find the right cards, you wouldn't have a filler card to put in temporarily as you're trying to build out your deck. So Jaelarian Hound, I think it's good to keep like 8 or 9 of them in your collection. It's cards like, it's similar to a card like left hook, right hook, left hook, because of the option of, I want to play a fighter, I don't know what to do, let's just run a bunch of these 3 Ts until I start finding what my fighter needs. It's if you're making a brand new deck, it's a great card to just throw in as you're trying to learn how to play with that champion. So, a lot of utility with this card. Once you get to a point where you're playing with your deck competitively, I can see it not being in there. But until you fully understand what your deck is, use it. It's a very safe card to run in your timeline while you're still trying to get a feel for the game. That being said, that's all I have to say about Jaelarian Hound. Thank you again to Firefate for the great questions, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful week. And yeah, bye.